Welcome back, ladies and gents. On today's show, Aston Martin unveils a stunning one-off build. Jeep finally reveals the hybrid Wrangler, and we recap some of the craziest auctions from last week. Plus, an interview with Formula D's Dai Yoshihara. I'm Tiffany Stone, and this is Hagerty's Daily Driver. Let's buckle up. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a great 3-day weekend. I know I did. Hear my voice again? I feel pretty good, and you know what puts me in a good mood? This. It's the Aston Martin Victor, a one-off special built by Aston's Q division. Now, the Victor is basically a combination of Aston's greatest hits. The shape was inspired by the Aston Martin Vantage of the 70s and 80s. Its carbon fiber chassis was adapted from the extremely rare 177, and the inboard suspension comes from the Vulcan. Now, the Victor shares a V12 with the 177, but if you write a big enough check, you kind of want a special engine, don't you? So, the Victor's V12 got some Cosworth upgrades to push the power to an insane 836 horsepower and 606 pound-feet of torque. Now, all that power is sent through a 6-speed manual transmission, making your paddle-shifted hypercar kind of look tame. Inside, there's a gorgeous mix of classic leather and modern carbon. Now, you want one for yourself? Not a problem. All you have to have is $2.7 million ready. And here's something a little bit more affordable and nearly as cool. It's the new Jeep Wrangler 4xe. And the E stands for, say it with me kids, electrification. The silent Jeep is finally here, and I'm happy to say, at least it's not a Wrangler Prius. Now, the new powertrain integrates 2 electric motors with a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder for a total of 375 horsepower. Now, one motor is bolted to the engine and the other to the 8-speed transmission. The driver can select an electric, hybrid, or gas-only mode. And I'm very happy to see that every 4X trim level wears that trail-rated badge proudly. The 400-volt battery pack sits under the rear seat, which means the Wrangler can still ford water up to 30 inches deep. Now, in the Rubicon or Sahara trim, you'll still get all the off-road goodies you're used to, like Dana 44 axles and full-time 4-wheel drive. Are you excited about the silent Wrangler? Let us know in the comments below. And now it's time to take a look at the big auction news from the weekend in a segment we like to call, You Paid What?
Paid what? Paid what?
First on deck is some open-aired British excellence, a 1974 Jensen Interceptor convertible. The Jensen Interceptor was a mix of Italian design, American engines, and British luxury. This convertible has a 440 cubic inch Chrysler V8, fed through a 3-speed automatic. It's like a British Corvette with more wood inside than Noah's Ark. And to be fair, only about 6,000 Interceptors were built and only 500 were convertibles. So it is rare. But this one on Hemmings has 104,000 miles on it and some cracks in the paint. That should make the price reasonable, right? Nah. How about $52,000.
Hey, what?
Exactly, everybody. And now, if you think that price is crazy, just you wait. This is a 1990 Mazda Miata. It's extremely clean inside and out, has a factory hardtop, and only 35,000 miles on it. It's museum quality. It sold for a completely reasonable $10,050 on Bring a Trailer. Now, that makes sense to me. However, that's not the crazy price. The crazy price belongs to this, a 1994 Nissan 240 SX. It has twice the miles of the Miata, a boring engine, and it's barely quicker than the Mazda, but it sold for $32,750.
You paid what?
I know, guys, I know. Is it a clean example? Yes. Are these cars excellent driver cars? Yes. But paying $32,000 for a slow coupe with a rusted muffler is just hard to justify. I mean, this is just proof that the drift tax is alive and well. And speaking of drifting, Dai Yoshihara is a well-known Formula Drift champion and all-around fascinating person. JF Musial talks to Dai about the sport and about his latest victory. But first,
Behind every Nissan car and truck is advanced technology. Nissan is now perfecting vehicles that can run on hydrogen or electricity.
Dai, thanks for joining today. First off, you're coming off, coming off a long week. I know we're going to be talking about Formula D in St. Louis, but you're a class winner at Pikes Peak. How's that feel?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. Yeah, that was amazing. We had so many car issues over the week, and I was not only one time, like a few times, like even team owner Mike was like, "Oh my God, we might not gonna make it," So not just finishing the race, we won the unlimited class. That was amazing achievement for us.
So looking at Pikes Peak in terms of events you do, you've done so much in your life. You've been competitive for so many years in Formula D, but
Yeah.
Pikes Peak being a hill climb, and it's not something you're new to, but it's the first time you've actually gotten to the top. What was that like, and what's that event mean to you?
Well, it's something that you don't know until you really do. It's like a 10 minutes, around 10 minutes type of the hill climb, right? So the time-wise, it's not crazy long. So I didn't think it was gonna be that hard to just finish. But there's just so many different factors that you don't even know until you do it. You don't get that much practice time, and practice time is always in the morning. So race day and practice the time is totally different. Track temp and air temp, everything is different. And the amount of stress to the car is something we don't really experience in any other motorsports, because we are racing around how many feet? 14,000 feet?
Yeah, 9,000 to 14,000 feet. That's substantial, yeah.
Right. So it's a lot of crazy stuff that I didn't know until I really tried last year. So just to finish off, it's kind of big deal. We've been trying to go fast and try to get sub 10. Of course, that was our goal for this year too. But everybody from Pikes Peak, they're saying just don't try too hard. Just finish it. That's the most important thing. Even if you try to go so fast, if you don't finish it, doesn't mean anything, right? Which that was the case in 2019 for us. So this year couldn't get a sub 10, but we still won the unlimited class and finished the race. So that was the most important thing.
So as a Japanese driver, what does it mean to you and maybe your family, the fact that you've won a class at Pikes Peak? Because, inherently Pikes Peak is one of the oldest races in America, second oldest in America after the Indy 500. You had a Japanese driver win the Indy 500 this year. For you, especially with the driving culture, the mountain driving culture in Japan, what's it mean to you to actually be successful at Pikes Peak?
So Pikes Peak is really famous all over the world, and especially in Japan when I was growing up, like back in 80s, 90s. Even though, there's not like internet and stuff like that back then, but I still know what it was. And then I think it was, in a way, a little bit bigger than what it is right now. And then I'm sure Monster Tajima is a very famous racer, and he's been competing so many years from Japan, and he had a lot of records. So competing in Pikes Peak was one of the dream that I wanted to do ever since I was a kid. And yeah, as a Japanese guy and going there, and like you say, my background is mountain driving. So in a way, it's kind of like an ultimate toge trier to me, So it's just fun to drive. That's the most, biggest thing about that, For me, from Japan, driving, mountain road for a long time. I mean, back in the days. And then that's like a real mountain racing truck. So it was really cool just to drive it, just to participate. That was like a crazy moment for me last year.
So you went from Pikes Peak and you just had the first round of Formula Drift, this time being in St. Louis. It's a strange year, motorsports in general. Can you just kind of give background as to what St. Louis was like and you know, kind of the delay in the season getting off and then having to do back-to-back rounds at the same track? What was that like?
So usually we have a 1 round per weekend, and we have 8 rounds overall for one season. But this year, because of COVID, the started delay. So usually we started on April, but this year started just past weekend, which was September. So they have to make the round double header instead of 8 different location. They made it just a 4 different location, but 2 rounds each location. So we had 2 different rounds at the St. Louis as a season opener. So, you know, location is different because the last 12 years, FD was started off at the Long Beach, usually 1 week before the Long Beach Grand Prix. So that's different too. And then having the 2 rounds back to back Saturday and Sunday, it was quite different. Kind of have to think about the day after the race. So you can't really go super hard and destroy the car because you have to have another run tomorrow, right? And we didn't really have that much time between either because the event starts at early and ends pretty late too. So it was quite a interesting week, but we're still gonna have another 3 location, which is 6 more rounds. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different from every other year, but I'm sure everybody can adapt to it. And so for my personal result wise, I got knocked down in top 16 two days in a row. So it wasn't the best, but still did a few great rounds. So still pretty happy about it. But more than anything, in this situation in the world, a lot of series are like delayed and some series are canceled. But I'm really grateful that we are still doing an FD event this crazy year.
Now, looking at the fact that you're doing fewer events but more rounds, kind of tightly compressed, back-to-back rounds, have you found and did you see in the paddock all drivers kind of taking the first round a little bit easier than they normally would because they want to conserve the car into the second rounds?
To be honest, I said that first, but at when we all in a grid, I don't think anybody thinks that way. Everybody's just trying to win at the moment, So it's kind of like after the fact. I don't think anybody had a serious damage on the car in the first day, so everybody was able to drive in the second day. So yeah, I think as a driver, that's kind of like can't really think that much when you're really trying to win, something.
Dai, so being that this is a whole new year and it's been so many months since the last round, outside of the obvious with COVID and everything being compressed, what are some new things, new regulations or new elements of Formula D that people should be paying attention to this year?
New element. Well, there's a lot of new drivers. That's one thing. I'm sure there's like 5 to 6 new drivers. So that's a new thing, right? Another thing, so because of a double header, they kind of have the timing is kind of limited. Time is kind of limited, so they don't do qualifying system anymore. So we just go to the head-to-head battle right away. So that's kind of interesting too. Qualifying was really important for us too, but in a way, it wasn't super exciting to watch. So I think it's good for the fans. They can just watch the battle right away and 2 days in a row. Other than that, I can't really think of anything new that you need to kind of keep eye on it, I guess.
Okay, so it was Odie and Turk that took that they got the points from the first 2 rounds across the board. Yeah, I always do my homework. So you're looking at those 2 up front right now. But as we go into Washington, who do you think is going to be the strongest competitor you're going to have?
Out of those 2?
No, for you in general, just in general in the paddock.
Oh well, there's so many contenders there, and obviously Ryan and Audi are two of them, but not just them. There's another at least 10 drivers that I have to keep eye on, and getting me a trouble in the future. So can't really pick like one driver or two drivers. It's just so competitive lately. Every year getting more competitive, and I won a championship like 2011, which is like a long time ago, and
Yeah.
it's very different now. So yeah, I gotta just do my best every single battle, like even top 32. It's really hard to move on these days. So yeah, it's just tough battles. Yeah.
You've been there since the very beginning, and you've seen the evolution of the series. How does it make you feel to be part of that? To be part of that history? To kind of see it evolve to being a growing sport, even though we're in this world where spectators. I know there were spectators there, but we're in this world where it's hard to watch live events, so everyone's kind of tuning in online. But how do you see the sport has evolved in years, and what do you think about it?
It's crazy to see, I mean, it's crazy to know the same thing for 17 years. It's been actually, this is like a number 17 year for Formula Drift. And I'm one of 4 drivers competing since day one. It's crazy. It's totally different, completely different. And like you said, these days, a lot of internet, live streams, and a lot of social medias covers everything. So not just having the logos on the car, the drivers have to do a lot of different stuff. Talking about competition, it's just getting more crazier. If you watch the competition like just 10 years ago, it's a lot different. Like the cars are not as cool, and the battles are not as close, proximity wise. Nobody even that close like yesterday. So yeah, it's crazy to see this, and I really appreciate that I'm still being there, but at the same time, I feel like I'm old guy because I'm the oldest guy in the field. And then yeah, it's of course it's 17 years being passed,
Right. Yeah. Well, Dai, thank you for taking the time to be on the call today, and for talking about Pikes Peak and Formula D. Looking forward to seeing the rest of the season in Formula D. Any other events you're taking place in this year outside of Drift?
Maybe we do time attack event with the Pikes Peak car.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, if anything. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Dai. Well, thanks again. Appreciate the time. Hopefully see you soon again.